I'm glad to be here then and there. A little bit about me for those of you that don't know me. I have a degree in physics from the University of California at Berkeley. I have a master's in administration from Sonoma State and an MBA in business from the University of Phoenix. I've been a teacher and a principal. My husband and I have been here almost 10 years, and the first thing I said to him when we moved out here was I wanted to become involved in our community, because once we're here, we are here. So I started, first time, I filled out 5 separate applications to be on committees because I thought the board selected one of those for you. I got on all 5. And I'm like, okay, this is conflict. So I did select 2 of them. One was the finance and one was the architectural control, which actually became kind of the love of my committee chairmanship and as a member of the committee for about 5 years. I was on the board from 2010 to 2012, left after my first 2 years, and I'm now going for my second and last term, I hope, on the board for 2016 through 18. So that's pretty much a little bit about me. I know there are some questions out there, and I'm not sure if you want us to do some sort of a statement or...
Yeah, you just kind of talk, and then we have 3 questions.
3 questions, and they have theirs, okay. Yeah. And I'm sure everybody's talked about budget, and I am concerned about the budget. I was the only one on the board that was not in favor of increasing the dues this past year. I understand that dues increase can and should and will probably occur, but I think we need to be very careful of how we look at it, how we approach it, and how we plan. I would like to see the general manager and the managers of this club bring in a 2 to 3 types of budgets. One, a zero-based budget, one that they would like to have, and then something in between that is more practical and maybe doable. I also would like to see something that we can do here in California under Davis Sterling. We can, is that we can add to our declaration committee, have them work on having Section 8 not present here in our community. The reason why I say that is being on the ACC and listening to some of the ACC members complain about some of the properties here in our community that are definitely not in good shape. So some of the owners live completely out of state. They have no idea. They pay the fine. Nothing happens. ACC keeps fining them. We keep, getting revenue here at the club. But we also need to address some of these issues. And with some of the things that are happening around the corner with the 2 pot shops opening up and our little farm that'll be down on Little Morongo, I'm sure we're going to be bringing in a different kind of element that we would probably not like to see here in our community. So basically, that's where I stand on main issues.
Shelley, all candidates expressed interest in cutting spending. How and where we could cut spending?
That's really a difficult question, Ann. It really is. I've been on the finance committee. I've been on the board. It's not that clear. You just can't say, all right, golf course needs to cut 15%. G&A needs to cut 7%. You have to look at all the figures. You have to actually prioritize what is important for the members, what's important for this club, and keeping it going. I mean, that's why I say a zero-based budget is one thing. If you come in with zero, we're just zeroed. Here we are. This is what it was this past year. And then let's take a look at where inflationary values are going to happen. What are the predictions? Have we really done a good look at looking at our AC units? Do they need to be replaced? Do we need to make cuts somewhere else so that Andy can have the necessary equipment to keep the greens? It has to be the general manager, the manager, and the committees working together to figure out how that budget. So it's not a, oh yes, cut here, cut there. You can't. You have to be working together, and it has to be a far more open discussion that goes on with everyone.
Shelley,
Yes.
how would you maintain and improve club facilities, and which improvements would you give priority to?
Well, currently I sit on the board and I do give priority to the 3 that we have out there right now. One is the pool area. It has never been, in quote, remodeled since this club was built. Members have been asking for years for shade, shade, shade. Well, the Pool and Rec, under the great direction of Eddie Baxter, has put together a 3-shade project that we really need out there. The other is the golf course, and I know there's a lot of pros and cons, should we or shouldn't we, and everything just seems to be fine. I sat on that committee, and some of you were there at those meetings. We haven't changed much of our golf course with the tee boxes out there, where they call them the landing tees. They when they've done soil samples, they're finding they're compressing. Any woman that plays on the 3rd hole for the 3rd tee box, we tilt. And that tee box hasn't been fixed because the compaction is a problem. The other project that I'd like to see finished is the maintenance yard. It is scheduled to definitely be walled in and paved, which will cut down on dirt and dust and actually make it look prettier, when you're coming down there and not looking at those dead oleanders and, screens that are up there, etc. So I'd like to see those 3 projects complete. We do have other minor type projects. We do need a new grease trap here in the kitchen. There are lots of things that are needed. But again, it's priority, and I'd like to see the major ones done and completed.
How do we encourage people to vote when ballots are sent out, even if they have to just check off quorum, so that we do not have to incur extra expense, which can run more than $3,000 by resending the same ballots?
It was funny, we were just talking about that in there too, since we were talking election 2016. I don't know if there's a way, but the wild, crazy idea is if you had a little computer and a little booth up here, and people that come up to the club for dinner, have you voted, go into your booth and hit a button. Why is I'm sure the technology is available. That would maybe help. It would be a great concern if there was a way to do that. People are just people. They make choices, whether they're going to vote or not, whether you have to beg them. I don't believe in bribing people, say, hey, if you vote, we'll get you a free drink. Vote, you'll get a free dessert. Come up here and you can have this. It's our right as citizens here at Mission Lakes to cast that vote. And don't forget to do that. We sometimes need reminders, yes, but I encourage every one of you. It's great to see this crowd. And I know you'll vote, but we need to encourage the others to get out there and vote, even if it's just for the quorum, just to have, hopefully that is a bygone issue coming up, that we won't need the quorum. So, if you want to be involved, and if you care, about increases in dues, or if you care about not increasing dues, if you care about the golf course, the swimming area, you care about the motel, you care about what's happening here in the clubhouse, you definitely have to get involved. And you don't have to come to meetings, not all the time. You don't have to get that kind of involved. I know how hard it is, especially if you're working. But just read the stuff that comes in the mail, check the box, and bring it up or mail it. Simple.
Okay, we're
Open for questions now. Right back here. Miss Gula.
Mrs. Daly.
Yes, Miss Gula.
So I've been asking about the same question to all the candidates, so I'm going to ask you. In your candidacy of this time, I'm sure you've been talking to members of all types, golfers and non-golfers, people that come up to the club and don't. What, in your discussions with them, what is one of the number one questions and concerns that the members have had, and can you tell me how you would solve it or help fix it?
There have been a couple issues, Christine, and I'll just talk about the one today that I heard yesterday and today is about we are an equity club, and I am personally 1,069th of an owner. I have a right to know what's going on. So does everyone in this room. So if you have a question, and if you get, sometimes there is a tendency for people to get pushed back. Well, that's not really, you shouldn't be asking that question. This isn't right. You need to see the general manager. You need to see the board president. You need to do this. You have a right to information just as much as you have a right to anything here at this club as a member in good standing. So I say that kind of communication needs to be opened up. We need to be sharing. It's not 1,069 people asking to see a contract regarding our insurance. It might be 2 or 3 people that just want to see, what are we actually spending it on? Because they have an interest, or they're in the business and they would just want to know. They have a right to know. So that came up yesterday and again today. And I think it's important that that's one thing is addressed.
Anybody else? Would anybody else like to ask a question?
Oh boy, Jan.
I don't really have a question, but I'd like to make a comment because one of the questions that came up for all the candidates is what would you do to get the members to participate more in the voting processes? We've got 8 people running for the board this year, and I heard some of the candidates speak about, well, some of the things I said in my bio, this and I said that, and yet nobody's seen any bios. I think, if the bios were sent out to the members or even put up in the front next to the list of candidates, that, to see that before they come to the forum. Not everybody goes on the website. And again, we talked about that. So, there's some simple things that just haven't been done, and yet you're asking a question, gee, what can we do? I don't get it.
Do you have an opinion about that? Yeah. Do I have an opinion?
Short.
Yeah.
Yes, short.
It's one of the hardest things, Jan. Again, budget communication. How do you communicate with people? Some people don't want to hear. Others do. Others will ask questions. Like I heard this rumor. Again, another rumor I heard. I got either a phone call or an email heard a rumor that we're spending $3 million on the golf course. I'm like, well, I'm on the finance committee and on the board. I didn't know that, but I knew that wasn't true. So rumors do come out there. At least it's talk. At least we're communicating and we're actually doing some. I don't know how to really solve that problem. You try website, you try up here, you have people talk. I don't know what else to do other than going door to door and kind of being, here's the milkman coming in and I'm going to leave you a little note, that this is, it's all about how we personally want to take responsibility for the running of our club instead of complaining that it isn't running the way it should be. You just have to listen and open up and read.
Thank you, Shelley.